With the recent launch Star Wars The Old Republic coming through Steam, I have a lot of questions about what you can do in the game and what is the best level to get gear, what is the best way to get experience, and so many questions obviously from new players. In this video, I'm going to show you guys what you can do in Star Wars The Old Republic. So basically, what Star Wars The Old Republic can offer you. So let's get into it. The first and foremost, obviously, what you can do in Star Wars The Old Republic is story. There are 8 main storylines in Star Wars The Old Republic. First, you going in, choose your class. There are 4 classes on each side, Republic and Empire. Each story on each faction has a different storyline. It doesn't really matter if you're subscribed or free-to-play or preferred players. The main 8 original storylines you can go through without any restrictions at all. Free-to players and preferred players can go through until Rise of the Hutt Cartel and Shadow Revan. The rest of the storyline, Knights of the Fallen Empire, Knights of the Eternal Throne, Onslaught, and the story in between them are unfortunately subscriber limited, so you need to be subscribed for you to get the remaining storyline done. And as soon as you got the storyline done, in between the storylines, you can do some interesting things in the game, which I'm going to be showing off right now. The first one I will call the old school space mission. Once you're going through and get yourself a ship, after that you go ahead, level up, and the more levels you got, the more space missions you unlock in your ship. Basically, you go into the control terminal where the galaxy map is, and right next to it there is a terminal where you can go ahead and click what you can do in space. There are like maybe 12, 13 missions you can do, and as soon as you got those done, you can go to the fleet and got access to some of those gears and some of reputation points that you would like to get and like to receive, and you will get yourself some cool gears and stuff. Also, while you're leveling in your storyline, in some planets you will receive an NPC that has a flashpoint under it. Basically, you can do flashpoints. Flashpoints are 4-player group content that you go through with your teammates and doing missions in there. Basically, there are some levels, bosses, and all kinds of fun tricks that you can do in Flashpoints. And if you're doing a veteran mode or master mode Flashpoints, you can go ahead and earn yourself some gear if you would like to. In story mode, you're not earning that much gear, but in veteran and master mode, definitely you earn some gear. Keep in mind that master mode Flashpoints some of them are very, very difficult to do. So if you are not even close to the level requirement that it says here, 70 to 75, I do not recommend, and I think the game will also not allow you to queue in for Master Mode Flashpoints. So just go ahead and do some veteran Flashpoints in the meantime, because that will also give you some gear and also experience what you would need to do in the Flashpoint. Heroics. Heroics are 2 to 4 player experiences just like the Flashpoints, but this one is much easier and much less time consuming. In a Flashpoint, what you need to do is basically you are in an instance. What you need to do there is basically do objectives. Same in the Heroic as well, but with the Heroic, it's a much smaller base and you need to do less objectives there with your teammate. And basically, if you are experienced and you well know the game, you can basically solo all of the Heroics. But I recommend to get yourselves your friends, because if you're getting some friends, you will earn yourself much more credits than you usually do. So it's also a very good credit farm there as well, if you would like to get that done. And also, while you're doing your main storylines, you can go ahead and explore. While you're exploring in Star Wars The Old Republic, you can go ahead and discover so many things in the game. For example, armor sets that you don't even know it existed. Social vendors, mounts, and all kinds of those things are hiding in the planet. Also, there are some unique bosses, world bosses, which you need to be in a co-op experience and need to gather up and defeat all of them. Also, you can find datacrons. Datacrons are basically helping your stats out. Some of them are much easier, which you just need to climb and do other things. Some of them are much more complex ones. So if you're going to do datacrons, make sure to check out, there are so many guides. Even we made some of them here in the channel, but make sure to check out some guides if you don't know where those datacrons are, and basically it will help you stats up and boost your stats up, basically, which you can do more damage, more DPS, or more healing. Introduced in the Rise of the Hot Cartel expansion, you can go ahead and do the MACROBINOCULAR / Seeker Droid. The MACROBINOCULAR and Seeker Droid basically are two different items that you can go ahead and get yourself in-game. And what they will actually do is some kind of exploration. So basically, if you are using the MACROBINOCULAR, it will show you around the area that you found something there, or there is something there in a planet area, which you can go ahead and dig. And once you go into that area, the Seeker Droid will say, the Seeker Droid have found something in your area, and once you started it, you will go ahead and use the Seeker Droid, and you can go ahead and dig into that area. Also, there are some daily missions for this as well. Once you go through Rise of the Hot Cartel, you can get access to the MACROBINOCULAR and Seeker Droid mission. So once you go through the storyline, you can go ahead and have some fun with your mates, and also, like I said, there are some daily missions there, so go ahead and check them out. They are really fun. Now let's get into some other stuff that you can do in SWTOR, basically PvP. Obviously, it's self-explanatory player versus player experience. There are quite a few maps in Star Wars The Old Republic where you can go ahead and test your skills out. And basically, there is an unranked and a ranked version. The ranked version is unfortunately limited to subscribers only, but the unranked version is not. The unranked version for free-to-players and preferred players, you can go ahead and do it, but not all the time. For ranked, unfortunately, you cannot do it. You must be a subscriber to do ranked. And in order to do, basically to queue for PvP, you need to be above level 10. And then after that, you could go ahead and have some fun and test your skills in PvP. Operations. Operations are an 8 or 60-man group content with other players. There is also 3 difficulty modes on this one: Story Mode, Veteran Mode, and the Master Mode. Story Mode, I would recommend to go into the very beginning, because that one is also very much easy one. It will introduce you to the operation, and also you can have some fun with your teammates. Veteran Mode is a little bit different for some operations. Some of the Veteran Mode operations are a bit more difficult, like the recent Duxon one, which is still very difficult, or Gods from the Machine. They are always going to be very difficult. And the Nightmare ones are obviously a Nightmare one, which is for hardcore players only. If you want to test yourself and get yourself into the main level, Nightmare raiding is definitely one way to go ahead and test your skills. Daily missions. Daily missions are an easy soloable content that you can earn yourself some easy credits. There are quite a few places where you can do daily areas: Bel Savis, Ilum, CZ198, Macab, Oricon, Section X, Black Hole, Iocath. And later on, if you are getting into the Onslaught content, you can go ahead and do On the Run and Meksha as well. Meksha doesn't require that much, only 2 heroic missions are in there, and also depend on what event is on, you can go ahead and do the event daily areas, but I will get to that in a bit. Basically, the main thing is there are 6 daily areas that is always available all the time, and once you go through them, you can go ahead and earn yourself some easy credits once you're done. Some of them are much more difficult, some of them are time consuming, some of them are much easier, like the CZ198 that you see right here is a very easy one. It took me like 20 minutes to do it, so if you want to earn yourself some easy credits, go ahead and do it. And speaking of events, the next topic is events. Basically, the events are weekly new events that is in Star Wars The Old Republic. Make sure to check out the SWTOR website, because in there every month they will show and tell us what we can expect in terms of events. The events are the following: the Bounty Broker Association, Relics of Degree, Ragu Pandemic, the recent one, the Swoop Racing, and the Dantooine Incursion event. And there are sometimes recurring events. There are currently 2, but there will be a third one coming up. The recurring events are the Nashada Nightlife event, the Life Day event, and the new one which is coming out in 6.1.4, which is the Feast of Prosperity one. That's gonna be our new event, a recurring event. Basically, in each event, people can do different objectives. But for example, in the Bounty Broker Association, what you need to do is basically hunt down enemies in different planets, Dromunkas to Hata to Narshada. But in the Relics of the Gree event, for example, you can do much more different things. For example, PvP against each other, or do an operation boss there because there is a boss showing up, Xenoanalysis 2, or you can do some of the dailies as well, which will also give you some reputation and tokens that you can spend on the vendors. The Ragul Pandemic is the same as the Gree event. You're going to a specific area, and once you're in that specific area, you can go ahead and PvP as well. You can go ahead and kill a world boss there. There is a world boss there, a new world boss which is spawning, and also a instance boss which you can kill as well, which is called the Eyelist. And after that, you can go ahead and do the daily missions. In the Dantooine Incursion event, what you can do basically is go explore Dantooine. There are quite a few daily missions and also quite a few heroics there, so make sure to check it out because that one is also giving you an awesome experience and some good credits. And obviously the recent one, which is the swoop event. The swoop event, what you need to do is basically swooping, and once you gain yourself some reputation, you will receive some new quests along the line. So I recommend try out some of those when the events are returning. Galactic Starfighter. In Galactic Starfighter, there are two modes that you can receive, objective-based one or deathmatch one. Deathmatch one is, I think, self-explanatory. It basically, in the objective points, what you need to get is get some of these satellites, and then you will get yourself point for your team. There's a lot of customization what you can do in Galactic Starfighter. Change your gear, change your companion, change your skills, and also change the look of your ship as well. There are 5 ships that you can have all the time, but I think you can buy more. I'm sorry, I'm not really into Galactic Starfighter, but once you go and cure yourself into Galactic Starfighter, you're basically into the action and just go ahead and try space. Honestly, it's a lot of fun, but unfortunately not all of the player base are playing it, but I recommend it honestly. So if you want to, make sure to check it out. The Eternal Championship. Once you're going into Knights of the Fallen Empire at Chapter 9, you will go ahead and receive this new mission in ZWTOR called the Eternal Championship. The Eternal Championship is a very difficult one for new players to do. Basically, there are 10 bosses there in waves what you need to kill. Some of them are easier, some of them are more difficult. The more bosses you kill later on, the skill level will rise up. This is a true test of your skills. If you want to get yourself better and want to test out what you need for your class, I highly recommend to do this. Because first of all, it's a lot of fun, and second of all, it's like actually difficult for not just for new players, even for me as well. I died there as well, even though I played this for 9 years. So I recommend you as a new player to go ahead, and if you're a subscriber, to test out at the Eternal Championship. And once you got that one done, you can go out and get yourself some new gear, because there are tons of cosmetic gear and rewards that you can earn yourself as well if you're doing Eternal Championship. Star Fortresses. After you've done Knights of the Fallen Empire, you can go ahead and recruit new companions to your alliance, and the Star Fortresses will help you get through that. First of all, what you need to do is in your alliance alert, there is a mission where you can go ahead and accept the mission, and once you go in there, you will go and destroy Star Fortresses on some planets. There is one on Voss, there is one on Alderaan, there is one on Tatooine, and there is one on Belsavis. There is 1 or 2 more, and once you collect them, you can go ahead and gain new allies to your alliance, and once you've done that, you will go and face 2 enemies. The first phase is basically a solo one, which you will go in and you will defeat the Amethyst, which is like basically the droid that will core and help the Star Fortress basically get it work. The second one is more the Exarch, the ZWTOR Exarch, which is basically the leader of the Star Fortress and who is basically full control of it. And once you got him destroyed, you will go ahead and destroy the Star Fortress, and once you got that one done, you will go ahead and recruit some of the new allies that you will see in Star Wars The Old Republic. This one, unfortunately, is limited to subscribers only, obviously, since this is Knights of the Fallen Empire content. So if you are a subscriber, you can definitely go ahead and take a look at it. Trust me, it's a lot of fun. Stronghold decorating. Stronghold decorating is something that you can do outside of anything. This one is absolutely free for some players, but unfortunately, this one needs credits, which obviously the credit cap for free-to-play and preferred players are 1 million credits, so you unfortunately cannot buy some of the strongholds unless you buy it from Cardinal Coins. Now, if you're buying it from Cardinal Coins, feel free to do so, but I prefer obviously the credit way. There are currently 7 strongholds in Star Wars The Old Republic. Drummond class Coruscant. Each faction, obviously, you can go ahead and do it. Tatooine Umbara. Alderaan, the latest one. Yavin 4. My favorite one, Manon. And Rishi. Forgot to mention Nar Shaddaa. These are the strongholds you can go buy and then later on decorate it. There are tons of decorations you can find in Star Wars The Old Republic. If you're just doing some kind of missions, you can go ahead and get yourself some decorations. Or if you, for example, go ahead and do Star Fortresses, as I said, you will also getting decorations there. And also you can find a bunch of them in the fleet, which will require crafting. Uprisings. Uprisings is a 4-player content as well, just like the Flashpoints, very similar to the Flashpoints, but in the Uprisings you will not get any dialogue at all or not much story, basically some context of it, and what you need to do there is pretty much the same as in a Flashpoint. You go in with as many players as you want, 4 players the maximum, and you kill most of the enemies and some bosses, and once you got that one done, you will earn yourself some new gear that you can go ahead and use. And if you're doing all of these, what you will doing basically is the last topic is Conquest. Conquest is if you are playing in Star Wars The Old Republic and doing some of these objectives that I said, heroics, dailies, operation, PvP, you will earn yourself Conquest. Conquest is basically an easy way to get yourself some gear. Basically, you join in a guild and you do conquests together, or you want to have fun and conquer one of the planets that you aimed for yourself. Conquests are an easy way to get yourself some rewards, some new rewards if you don't know, and after that it will actually introduce you, once you leveled up to the highest level, it will introduce you to some of the end game gear, what you were receiving. So make sure, if you're just hanging around in the game and do some of these objectives, to check them out, and then you earn yourself some new gear that you can use for the upcoming events. These are all the activities you can do in Star Wars The Old Republic. Obviously, I can go with fashion, I can go with crafting, role-playing, so more and more. But these are just the activities, what you can do in Star Wars The Old Republic, and the rest is up to your imagination and up to your guild. Whatever events or things are going around in the galaxy far, far away. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please smash that thumbs up, and I will see you guys next time. Peace.